Melero has a best lap time of 1:26.720.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
Shelby has a best lap time of 1:27.122. Melero just posted a 1:26.720 crossing start finish. Brent Owen posted 1:27.511 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. Kevin Lekmanski has a best lap time of 1:28.888. With just 1 minute left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Shelby just posted a 1:27.520 crossing start finish. It's a lovely day for racing here at Willow Springs as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Brent Owen posted 1:35.739 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
Brent Owen is not giving up and will be looking for every 10th.
Kevin Lekmanski has a best lap time of 1:27.999.
There is always more time to be found, but Lekmanski is not guaranteed to find it.
Hold that thought. A brilliant maneuver from Kevin Lekmanski, who has just moved up the field. Jake Feemster is on his practice out lap. With just 2 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Brent Owen has a best lap time of 1:27.511. It's a lovely day for racing here at Willow Springs as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Here we go, folks. The atmosphere is electric as the drivers prepare to unleash their machines at Willow Springs for the qualifying session.
Let's see who's got the speed and the skills to take the pole position.
Simon of the Desert is on his out lap. The adrenaline is pumping. Ryan Wilson is on his out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
This is the moment he's been preparing for. Let's see if he can execute.
Ryan Wilson crosses the start-finish line at the end of his out lap. You can feel the tension building. Brent Owen is out on track and getting ready to push for his qualifying time.
He'll want to get a good gap established for the flying lap.
Brent Owen has completed his out lap. It looks like David Zahn is getting ready to make his move. He's taking his time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Stefano Amodei is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run and get everything just right.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused, while also pushing the limits.
That's the outlap done for Stefano Amodei. He'll now look to focus on his first flying lap. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Jake Feemster has just completed that lap in 1:29.811. His best lap so far is 1:29.811, putting him in P6. Hold on a moment. Disappointing for Jake Feemster, falling down the order to 7th.
That's got to hurt. Feemster will be kicking themselves right now.
David Zahn is on his outlap.
It's a delicate balance between taking it easy and pushing hard. Let's see how Dave handles it.
Stefano Amodei does not look to be improving on this lap. Ada, any thoughts on ways to improve?
Well, Hal, he'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
Jake Feemster looks to be off the pace. Ada, what can he do to improve?
Good question, Hal. It's all or nothing now. He'll need to stay focused, hit the brake markers, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
The adrenaline is pumping. Adam is on his outlap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
Patience is key in these early moments, Hal, but I have a feeling Adam is going to make it count.
Adam crosses the start-finish line at the end of his outlap. Brent Owen does not look to be improving on this lap. Ada, any thoughts on ways to improve?
Every driver needs something different, Hal. Some drivers excel when they push harder, while other drivers benefit more from relaxing and being in a flow state.
Simon of the Desert is in the green by minus 0.31. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. David Zahn will be happy, with a time good enough for 4th in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to improve on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. It's far better to drive smooth and smart.
Adam will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings.
Absolutely. Adam is showing the world what he's made of.
You can feel the tension building. Brent Owen is out on track and getting ready to push for his qualifying time. Kevin Lekmansky looks to be off the pace. Ada, what can he do to improve?
He'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Adam does not look to be improving on this lap. Ada, any thoughts on ways to improve?
It's easy for a driver to get into a rhythm on the track, but there's no guarantee that rhythm is right. Each corner needs to be constantly reevaluated to look for a better line.
And there goes Shelby, currently in P5. He's shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still a chance to improve on that time. Hold the phone. Oh dear, Shelby has dropped down to 6th.
Absolutely, Hal. Shelby has put in a remarkable effort to secure 5th. The competition is fierce, and he'll need to stay focused to defend the position.
Shelby will be happy, with a time good enough for 4th in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure he can find a little extra in there.
Incredible performance by David Zahn so far. He's been the benchmark in this qualification session, consistently setting fast lap times and securing the top spot.
You're spot on, Hal. Dave is showcasing exceptional skill and consistency in this qualifying session. It's a formidable position for his rivals, who will need to step up their game to challenge him.
Jake Feemster has secured a respectable 9th in the qualifying session. This is a great spot to use as a launchpad for a strong race performance.
You're spot on, Hal. Jake's current position of 9th is a testament to his skills and determination. Now, there is the challenge of maintaining his position against hungry rivals.
A solid performance from Simon of the Desert, currently holding down P7. However, with the session coming to a close, he'll need to find that extra bit of speed to move up the grid. A solid qualifying performance by Adam, positioned in 6th. The question now is whether he can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
Great analysis, Hal. Adam has shown excellent pace to secure 6th. Now, the focus shifts to whether he can use that track position to his advantage in the race.
What a performance from Jake Feemster, currently in 9th on the grid. It's a good spot for now, but other drivers are trying their hardest to put in a better time and push him down the order. Impressive display by Stefano Amode, currently sitting in P10. He's set a competitive time, but the question remains whether he can push even harder to secure a better starting position.
Spot on analysis, Hal. Stefano is positioned well in 10th. It's crucial for him to maintain his focus and defend his position in the upcoming race.
There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Willow Springs, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
The drivers are looking focused out there on the grid. I'm excited for this one, Hal.
David Zahn will have the best seat in the house starting from pole position.
Zahn is sure to be excited at his prospects for this race.
Melero will be looking to convert this front row start into a win.
He can't count his chickens before they've hatched. There is a long way to go.
Coming in at third, we have Ryan Wilson.
It's not always easy to get the Shelby Cobra 351 this high up the starting grid.
Sketty will look to make a splash from the fourth position on the starting grid.
I think we are all looking forward to seeing what Sketty can do from here.
The fifth position belongs to Kevin Lekmansky.
Starting from here, Lekmansky may already have expectations of a podium finish.
We're seeing Adam in the sixth spot.
Adam is in a good place to mount a good challenge come the first corner.
Simon of the Desert is seventh. Starting from the eighth position, Brent Owen will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win. Jake Feemster is going to be starting from ninth. Our 10th place starter, Stefano Amode, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track. Willow Springs International Motorsports Park, commonly referred to as Willow Springs, is located in Willow Springs near Rosamond, California, about 80 miles north of Los Angeles. It is the oldest permanent road course in the United States. Construction began in 1952, with the inaugural race held on November 23, 1953. The main track is a 2.5-mile-long road course that is unchanged from its original 1953 configuration. The elevation changes and high average speeds make it a favorite of many road racing drivers. There are 7 tracks at Willow Springs. The largest and most well-known is Willow Springs International Raceway, commonly referred to as Big Willow. Other racing facilities include the Streets of Willow, a 1.8-mile road course, the Horse Thief Mile, the Speedway at Willow Springs, a 1/4-mile paved oval, Willow Springs Kart Track, the Playpen, a 1/4-mile paved training track, and the Walt James Stadium, which includes a clay oval and paved oval. Efforts by fans resulted in the state of California declaring Willow Springs International Raceway as a California Point of Historical Interest in 1996. And we have liftoff. The race is now underway. This first sector will test the drivers' skills and their ability to stay focused.
Staying out of trouble in these early moments is crucial. It's a fine line between pushing hard and staying safe.
Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers battling for position?
I'd love to be on track burning some rubber here, Hal.
It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today. The drivers are jockeying for position. Kevin Lekmansky will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate his position. All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up. The racing is normally closely fought here at Willow Springs. I think we are in for a cracking race.
Let's hope everyone is able to stay focused for the challenge ahead.
The pressure is on when the field is this tightly packed. Maintaining just enough aggression to hold off their rivals without pushing too hard will help these drivers keep it clean. There's some intense battling throughout the field as everyone is feeling out the drivers around them.
There are a few drivers with a point to prove, and a few with some grudges to bear. Let's hope they can keep it clean.
It's a thrilling pursuit as David Zahn is right behind Adam, keeping the pressure on for third place. Wait. Fantastic move from David Zahn, who has just gained a position.
That's what we like to see. Zahn is really showing his class today. Dave is following Adam so closely, he could start charging him rent for occupying the same space on the track.
These drivers are battling hard for this position, each one trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. The race is really heating up. Kevin Lekmanski is hunting down Ryan Wilson with everything he's got. Kevin Lekmanski is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Ryan Wilson at the moment.
This is a frustrating situation for Lekmanski, but he can't give up just yet. He'll need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Wilson.
Skeddy is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
Braking development. And Adam has just won the place from David Zahn. Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement Adam's legendary status.
A misjudgment by either driver could result in a close encounter of the tire barrier kind, and that's one handshake they'll want to avoid.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Kevin Lekmanski is closing in on Ryan Wilson.
Kevin needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Wilson.
Wait, it's looking good for David Zahn, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Adam.
Yes, but Zahn needs to keep pushing hard. This race is far from over, and anything can happen. Zahn needs to stay focused and drive with skill and determination.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. David Zahn is breathing down the neck of Adam, not giving him any room to relax. Look at that, Kevin Lekmanski is hot on the tail of Ryan Wilson.
We'll have to wait to see if Lekmanski can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
It looks like Skeddy is pushing hard to catch up to Mellero. That's not a small gap, but Skeddy has what it takes to challenge for the position. Hold that thought. Oh dear, Ryan Wilson has had an incident.
This is where experience comes into play. Mellero has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Skeddy is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
Skeddy is on a mission, chasing Mellero, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. The battle for P4 is heating up as Kevin Lekmanski tries to catch David Zahn in P4. Kevin Lekmanski is not able to keep his pace consistent, and is currently 0.89 seconds down.
Lekmanski needs to regroup and refocus and knock it up a notch.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Simon of the Desert will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Oh, this is getting intense. Ryan Wilson is just a few car lengths behind Jake Feemster. Hold on a second. Big gains for Ryan Wilson as they move up the field, leaving Jake Feemster behind. Skeddy is giving it his all, chasing down Mellero in P1. That won't be ideal for Jake Feemster. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Adam in third chases after Skeddy. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Adam needs to find a way to close the gap.
It's going to be tough for Adam, as Skeddy seems to have found his rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Adam pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if he can do it again.
It's game on now. Adam has closed the gap to Skeddy. It's now down to 0.3 seconds. I love being here at Willow Springs. What an awesome place to be witnessing these titans of the track battle it out.
Indeed, Hal, what a magnificent sight and sound. I love listening to the roar of these engines. Let's just listen for a moment.
Whoa. Skeddy is coming in hot. I don't know if it's the red mist or if he just missed his braking point. Hold on a moment. Tough break for Skeddy, who has just lost a position.
Definitely, but Skeddy is a skilled driver, and has what it takes to fight back and regain that position. A momentary lapse in concentration, perhaps? Moving at these speeds, a millisecond can make all the difference between success or total failure, Hal.
This is a thrilling battle as Kevin Lekmanski edges closer to David Zahn in their fight for P3. The pressure is on as Simon of the Desert tries to catch up to Brent Owen.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Simon needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Kevin Lekmanski is chasing David Zahn in P3. I don't think that's the fastest way around Willow Springs. Hold on to your hats, folks. Kevin Lekmansky is right on the heels of David Zahn, and we're in for a wild ride. Hold on a second. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Kevin Lekmansky gaining places and David Zahn losing them. It's a close race between David Zahn and Kevin Lekmansky in third.
The chase between Zahn and Lekmansky is like a high-speed game of tag only. The stakes are much higher.
The race is heating up as Adam in second closes in on Mellero. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure Adam is going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. He's not giving up without a fight.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Mellero is not going to give up his position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Adam in P2 doing everything he can to catch up.
The race is really heating up. David Zahn is hunting down Kevin Lekmansky with everything he's got.
The gap between them is now just over 0.3 seconds.
Simon of the Desert is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. It's a game of strategy now as Simon hunts down Wilson. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
It's an intense battle for position as Adam tries to outmaneuver Mellero. This is edge of your seat racing. Things are heating up as Simon of the Desert tries to close the gap to Ryan Wilson. It's not going to plan for Simon of the Desert, who is trailing behind Ryan Wilson and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now.
This is where the mental toughness of Simon comes into play. He'll need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way.
Looks like Adam is really pushing it to the limit. He's taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
Braking alert. Superb driving from Adam, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. Well, it doesn't look like Mellero is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone David Zahn. Braking development. A setback for Mellero, who has just been passed.
Yes, but he can't give up. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and Mellero needs to stay focused and keep pushing. Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
The gap between Kevin Lekmansky and David Zahn is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Kevin to even allow David to get a look in. David Zahn needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. Ada. He's just put in a slower lap than Kevin Lekmansky.
It will be interesting to see if Lekmansky can keep outpacing David.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Mellero, who is currently in P5. But Brent Owen is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Mellero.
That's right. Mellero in fifth knows to push it to the limit to catch up. But Brent Owen is no slouch, and he's going to be pushing just as hard.
The gap between Mellero and Brent Owen is widening. It's now up to 1.7 seconds. Things don't seem to be going Sketty's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
It's not over until the checkered flag drops, and it's important to maintain concentration until you've made it to the finish line.
Shelby is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Stefano Amodei to 0.5 seconds.
Exactly what Shelby needed. He can't afford to lose any more ground to Stefano.
A solid performance from Ryan Wilson, who is holding down 8th.
That's right, Wilson can't afford to make any mistakes or let up. Every point counts in this championship.
The tension is building as Shelby trails behind Stefano Amodei. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Stefano Amodei is pushing to maintain the lead, while Shelby is working to close in and challenge for the position. Breaking news, folks. An impressive showing from Shelby, who has gained positions and left Stefano Amodei in the dust. The pursuit is on. Stefano Amodei is closing the gap on Shelby, determined to claim P6. It's certainly not going to plan for Stefano Amodei right now, who is struggling to keep up with Shelby. The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics. But we all know that's impossible, or is it? I mean, we're a couple of computerized robots commenting on a race. Anything can happen.
Bad jokes notwithstanding, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. Stefano Amodei has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Shelby. I expect his only hope at this point is that Shelby makes an error. It's not looking good for Stefano Amodei, who is still behind Shelby, and the gap is increasing. Well, it doesn't look like Stefano Amodei is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Shelby.
Stefano certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Shelby.
The gap between Brent Owen and Mellero is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Brent Owen to even allow Mellero to get a look in. Good news for Mellero, the gap to Brent Owen has decreased. It's now down to 2.4 seconds.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one look forward to future advancements in AI technology.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. Things are going according to plan for Brent Owen, who is currently 4th.
Absolutely, and he'll need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
It seems like Brent Owen has got the bit between his teeth, improving on Mellero's lap time there.
We will have to see if Mellero has got any answers for that.
These drivers are in a fierce battle, with Brent Owen trying to outsmart and outmaneuver David Zahn. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. Shelby is placed 6th at the moment.
Yes, but Shelby has to keep his focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Excellent work from Shelby, who has managed to increase his lead over Stefano Amodei.
It's really looking like Shelby is going to be tough to pass today. He's driving with real confidence and authority.
Looks like we've had a few incidents out there.
Someone forgot to take their driving lessons. They're making more U-turns than a confused tourist.
Hilarious. I think they might need to call their GPS for directions. Maybe it can help them navigate the track. The delta between Ryan Wilson in 8th and Stefano Amodei remains over a second, but Ryan Wilson is not letting up. He's pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 16 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Wilson in 8th determined to catch up. But we know Stefano isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Wilson is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as Wilson can close that gap.
It looks like we might get a battle between Ryan Wilson and Stefano Amodei.
That's a great effort from Wilson. He'll need to keep up the pressure and see if he can make a move.
It's all about consistency for Adam, who is currently first. Things are starting to get tense as Kevin Lekmanski manages to close the gap to Adam. It's now down to 1.7 seconds.
This is a real test for Adam. He'll need to find some extra pace and hold off Kevin to have a shot at winning this race.
It's looking good for Adam, sitting in first. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Mellero trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Brent Owen. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. The gap between Mellero and Brent Owen is getting smaller. As a former driver, Ada, how did you manage the physical demands of racing?
It's all about preparation, Hal. Drivers undergo rigorous fitness training to build their strength, stamina, and flexibility. A proper diet and hydration plan is also essential to ensure peak performance on race day.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Jake Feemster as there is a big gap ahead.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
The gap between Jake Feemster and Ryan Wilson is growing. It's now up to 1.3 seconds. Things don't seem to be going Kevin Lekmanski's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
It's not over until the checkered flag drops, and it's important to maintain concentration until you've made it to the finish line.
It's game on now. Kevin Lekmanski has closed the gap to Adam. It's now down to 1.8 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. A driver that stays calm and focused is more likely to come out on top.
This race is getting even more intense. The drivers are pushing each other to the limit.
It's like they're playing a game of chicken, but with cars. And the winner gets to take home the checkered flag and bragging rights.
That's one way to put it. These drivers have to be in top physical and mental shape to compete at this level.
It's like they're training for the Olympics. And like you said, the mental fortitude required to stay focused and alert for the entire race is wild.
I think I need a nap just watching them. It looks like Jake Feemster is pushing hard to catch up to Ryan Wilson. That's not a small gap, but Jake Feemster has what it takes to challenge for the position.
Absolutely. Feemster in 9th will need to be patient and work carefully to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as he can't afford to take unnecessary risks and that might lead to an off or damaging their car.
A solid performance from Shelby, who is holding down 6th. Oh no, Ada, look at this. Stefano Amodei is closing in on Shelby. The gap is now just 2.9 seconds.
He'll need to step up his game and start pulling away again.
You know, Ada, it's been a relatively quiet race so far.
That's right, Hal. The drivers seem to be pacing themselves and waiting for the right moment to make their move. It's like watching a slow dance.
Well, it doesn't look like Brent Owen is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone David Zahn. Jake Feemster has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Ryan Wilson. I expect his only hope at this point is that Ryan makes an error. Jake Feemster is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Ryan Wilson at the moment. It's a brilliant day for racing, and the drivers are putting on a show.
Absolutely. What a great race we are witnessing today. These drivers are giving it their all, and it's a thrill to watch them compete at this level.
They're really pushing themselves and their machines to the limit, and it's paying off with some incredible driving.
It's a pleasure to be here today, Hal. You really can't beat the excitement of a good race, especially one as competitive as this.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Brent Owen in 4th chases after David Zahn. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Brent Owen needs to find a way to close the gap. Brent Owen could be on a charge here. Ada. He's just put in a quicker lap than David Zahn.
The question now is, can Zahn respond to that and pick up the pace? I'm not so sure.
The gap between Brent Owen and Mellero is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Brent Owen to even allow Mellero to get a look in. It's not going to plan for Mellero, who is trailing behind Brent Owen and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Brent Owen will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's going to be tough for Brent Owen, as Dave seems to have found his rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Brent Owen pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if he can do it again.
Looking at the lap times, Brent Owen is not currently on pace with David Zahn. Maybe he'll get a chance to see where to make up some time.
Hopefully Brent Owen can find some of that missing time and get it back.
The race is heating up as Mellero in 5th closes in on Brent Owen. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure Mellero is going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. He's not giving up without a fight.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Brent Owen is not going to give up his position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Mellero in P5 doing everything he can to catch up.
The gap between Mellero and Brent Owen is widening. It's now up to 1.0 seconds.
This is a tough situation for Mellero. He'll need to find a way to pick up some speed and close that gap.
On the final lap now, and Adam might just wrap up this win.
That's an impressive burst of speed. It's all but said and done now.
And there it is. Adam has completed the race in first place, setting a blistering pace that none of the other drivers could match. Kevin Lekmansky never gave up. He drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved second-place finish.
Strong work securing second place. Well done.
Impressive drive from David Zahn to claim the final spot on the podium.
Great job bringing it home.
4th and 5th sees Brent Owen and Mellero. Sketty end in 6th. Taking 7th is Stefano Amode, with Simon of the Desert in 10th. Ryan Wilson take 8th. Breaking news, folks. Great driving from Ryan Wilson, who has just gained a place and moved up to 8th.
You can't argue with results like that. Wilson is really making his mark on this race.
Coming in 9th we have Jake Feimster. It's a very still day here at Willow Springs, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
I don't know about you, Hal, but I'm expecting some hard-fought battles on track today.
Simon of the Desert is starting this race on pole.
The pressure's on now. Let's see if any of the other drivers can challenge for this spot at the start.
Jake Feemster is starting this race on the front row.
He will have to be smart about his moves. He must not burn out too early.
Ryan Wilson lines up in third place as the engines rev and the race begins.
The Canadian driver will be focused on a good result from here.
It's Stefano Amode, sitting comfortably in fourth.
Like many others, Stefano is starting the race on the Standards tire compound.
Sketty will begin the race from the fifth spot on the starting grid,
putting that Shelby Cobra 351 into prime position for the race.
Melero has qualified sixth.
Big things expected for Melero today.
Brent Owen will be looking to gain ground quickly, starting from seventh on the grid. David Zahn has qualified eighth. From the middle of the pack, we have Kevin Lekmansky in ninth place on the starting grid. In the middle of the pack, we have Adam starting from the 10th position on the grid.
Another mid-pack start for Adam.
Willow Springs International Motorsports Park, commonly referred to as Willow Springs, is located in Willow Springs near Rosamond, California, about 80 miles north of Los Angeles. It is the oldest permanent road course in the United States. Construction began in 1952, with the inaugural race held on November 23, 1953. The main track is a 2.5-mile-long road course that is unchanged from its original 1953 configuration. The elevation changes and high average speeds make it a favorite of many road racing drivers. There are 7 tracks at Willow Springs. The largest and most well-known is Willow Springs International Raceway, commonly referred to as Big Willow. Other racing facilities include the Streets of Willow, a 1.8-mile road course, the Horse Thief Mile, the Speedway at Willow Springs, a 1/4-mile paved oval, Willow Springs Kart Track, the Playpen, a 1/4-mile paved training track, and the Walt James Stadium, which includes a clay oval and paved oval. Efforts by fans resulted in the state of California declaring Willow Springs International Raceway as a California Point of Historical Interest in 1996. The starting signal has been given, and the drivers face the uncertainty of the first lap. With cars packed tightly together, the potential for spins or collisions is high.
With adrenaline running high, some drivers may take unnecessary risks. Staying patient and knowing when to make a move is essential for a strong start.
Simon of the Desert will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage.
What a beautiful day for racing here at Willow Springs. This is going to be good to watch.
The tensions are high, and no one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap.
Like gladiators, they enter Hal, but instead of lions and swords, our champions fight in an arena of tarmac, and with fire-breathing machines of cutting-edge materials, designed to explore the very limits of physics itself in what can sometimes be very much a fight to the death.
As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout-out to the admin team at ASRL for making this all possible. Heroes one and all.
The drivers are walking a fine line during the first lap melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
As the tires come up to temp, their available grip is changing, and the drivers that manage this transition best are likely to make progress through the field.
It's always intense racing here at Willow Springs. Hold on to your hats, folks.
I think passing is going to be difficult today here at Willow Springs, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on. This is what it's all about, folks. Ryan Wilson is in hot pursuit of David Zahn, who's just trying to stay ahead.
It's a battle for position as Wilson tries to make a move on Zahn. This is what racing is all about.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
One wrong move and we could see a spectacular new synchronized pirouette performance by Adam and Wilson, though I doubt the judges would give them a perfect score.
Simon of the Desert is looking for a way round Sketty.
Rubbing's racing, but let's just hope they don't rub it too hard.
Looks like we might have a great battle starting here between Stefano Amode in 4th and Mellero. It's been tense with a gap of only 0.4 seconds. It's been a solid race so far for Stefano Amode. He's holding his position and keeping a steady pace. This is where the race gets really interesting. Mellero is closing in on Stefano Amode. No room for error here. David Zahn is breathing down the neck of Ryan Wilson, waiting for the perfect chance to make his move. It's certainly not going to plan for David Zahn right now, who is struggling to keep up with Ryan Wilson. Adam could be looking for a way up the inside of David Zahn.
If you don't push the boundaries, you will never know where they are.
Hold that thought. Incredible. Adam is caught in a fierce battle, with Myers breathing down his neck 0.1 seconds away, and David just ahead with a gap of 0.2 seconds. It's a test of his racing skills. Brent Owen wants to find a way round Mellero.
There is no room for error in this battle.
The gap between Mellero and Stefano Amode is razor thin as they vie for 4th in this nail-biting contest.
These two are putting on a masterclass in precision driving. Every turn, every acceleration, calculated to perfection.
Every move counts now as Brent Owen works to reel in Mellero and overtake for P5. It seems like Brent Owen is struggling. His last lap time was a bit off the pace of Mellero. Adam is on a mission, chasing Ryan Wilson, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Adam needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Oh, this is getting intense. Simon of the Desert is just a few car lengths behind Sketty.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Simon needs to stay patient and wait for Sketty to make a mistake.
It seems like Brent Owen is getting in range of Stefano Amode.
It looks like Brent Owen has the speed to make a move. I just hope he can do it cleanly.
Wait. Oh, things are getting intense for Brent Owen. He's sandwiched between Lech Mansky and Stefano, navigating this high-speed battleground. The gap to the car ahead is 0.1 seconds, while the car behind is only 0.2 seconds away.
You're right on the money, Hal. Brent Owen is caught between two determined rivals, and the gaps to the cars ahead and behind add an extra layer of complexity. It's a delicate balance between defense and seeking opportunities.
Sketty has the pedal to the metal chasing Jake Feemster. Hold up, breaking info, and Sketty has just won the place from Jake Feemster.
Yes, but Sketty can't rest on his laurels, but needs to keep pushing to consolidate his position. And Sketty is poised to capitalize on any mistake. It's just a matter of who cracks first.
It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
And it's not just about skill and talent. It's about who has the nerves of steel to handle the pressure and make the right decisions at the right time.
Hold on a second. What a tight spot for Adam. David is right on his tail 0.2 seconds away, and Stefano just inches ahead with a gap of 0.1 seconds. It's a true test of these drivers' racecraft abilities. The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
If things go wrong between Adam and Stefano, they could be exchanging more than just paint, like maybe a strongly worded post-race chat.
It looks like David Zahn is in control. He's ahead of Stefano Amode by over a second, and it doesn't look like he's going to be challenged anytime soon.
Surely he's got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
This is a thrilling moment in the race, with Sketty in first defending his position with everything he's got. But Jake Feemster is relentless, and the gap is less than 0.1 seconds. It's anyone's position at this point. The adrenaline is pumping as Jake Feemster gets within striking distance of Sketty in their race for first.
Can Feemster close up enough for a pass? I don't see it personally.
Hold on a second. It's a challenging situation for Mellero. He's sandwiched between fierce competitors, Lech Mansky 0.2 seconds away and Brent Owen 0.1 seconds ahead. He'll need to stay sharp and find an opportunity to make a move.
You hit the nail on the head, Hal. The gaps to the cars ahead and behind are crucial pieces of information for Mellero's race strategy. It's a delicate dance, and he must remain vigilant.
They're going for the same piece of tarmac. Sparks are flying as they battle for position. daring each other to brake later and go deeper into the corners.
No doubt about it, Hal. The battle for that same piece of tarmac is intense. The sparks flying and the close quarters racing showcase the incredible skill and nerve of these drivers.
Adam is giving it his all, chasing down Ryan Wilson in P5. David Zahn is holding 7th, but Mellero is right on his tail.
It's not over yet. Mellero is right on Dave's tail, and if he can find just a little bit of extra speed, he might be able to make a move.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
You can see that car bouncing around as it rides the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
The tension is building as Simon of the Desert trails behind Jake Feemster. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Jake Feemster is pushing to maintain the lead, while Simon of the Desert is working to close in and challenge for the position.
That's right. Simon in third knows to push it to the limit to catch up. But Feemster is no slouch, and he's going to be pushing just as hard.
We're starting to see who really has the pace now in this race, as Ryan Wilson is starting to climb all over the back of Adam. Any closer and he may need to pop the boot.
Absolutely. Adam is really making that car as wide as possible, not giving Wilson an inch of space. It's going to take something special for Wilson to get past him.
Ryan Wilson is having to make that Shelby Cobra 351 as wide as possible to try and keep David Zahn behind him.
Yeah, I really can't see him holding on to this place for much longer.
The intensity is off the charts as David Zahn hounds Ryan Wilson, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Hold on a second. Looks like that's a mistake from Mellero. This could be costly.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and your racing rivals even closer. Looks like Dave is taking that advice to heart today.
Look at that, Jake Feemster is hot on the tail of Sketty. The drivers are getting faster as they settle into their cars and get used to the conditions, with Jake Feemster just putting in his best lap so far with a 1 minute.
He certainly looked to be in the flow, but may have to improve further to hold on to second.
This is a thrilling battle as Simon of the Desert edges closer to Jake Feemster in their fight for P2. The pressure is on as Brent Owen tries to catch up to Stefano Amodei.
The mental game is just as important here. Brent Owen must keep his cool while putting pressure on Stefano.
This is going to be a nail-biter. Jake Feemster is defending for his life, but Simon of the Desert is right there doing everything he can to force a mistake.
Feemster is doing a great job of defending in the lead, and Simon is pushing hard to close the gap. It's an exciting race and it's not over yet.
The race is really heating up. Simon of the Desert is hunting down Jake Feemster with everything he's got. It's not looking good for Simon of the Desert, who is still behind Jake Feemster, and the gap is increasing. Wait, what a move. Jake Feemster has moved up to first. Oh, this is getting intense. Jake Feemster is just behind Sketty.
Should things go awry, Feemster and Sketty might find themselves giving a whole new meaning to the term tandem drifting, though I doubt they'd enjoy it as much as the spectators.
It's all eyes on this battle as Sketty in first tries to hold off the challenge of Jake Feemster. Wow, Jake Feemster is really pushing hard to catch up to Sketty.
If Feemster isn't careful, he might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine, and trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
The battle for P2 is heating up as Simon of the Desert tries to catch Jake Feemster in P2. Simon of the Desert is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Jake Feemster to 0.3 seconds.
This is what racing is all about. Hard-fought battles with as much determination as respect, between friends and enemies alike.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Adam and Lekmansky both need to stay cool under pressure.
Hold the phone. A brilliant maneuver from Brent Owen, who has just moved up the field. The action is non-stop as Brent Owen shadows Stefano Amodei through every twist and turn, determined to claim 7th.
And the drivers know it too, Hal. He's giving it everything he's got, and you can see him pushing the limits of the car's capabilities.
Stefano Amodei is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. That driver is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
Stop the press. Oh dear, David Zahn has had an incident.
David is not going to be happy about that.
Jake Feimster is looking for an opportunity to get around Skeddy.
He'll need to keep it on the road, or at the very least the rumble strips. The fastest way around is not usually in the grass. As the saying goes, too much grass will slow you down.
Looks like Jake Feimster is really pushing it to the limit. He's taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control. The racing is getting tight between Jake and Skeddy as they battle for P1. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown. Hold on a moment. A great pass for Adam as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Simon of the Desert has lost ground.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
Adam is looking to take advantage of that slipstream baying so close to Simon of the Desert. That's going to provide the extra speed to challenge for the position. Hold your breath, folks. These drivers are showing exceptional car control, threading the needle through tight corners. It's a battle for supremacy. Stop the press. Hold your breath, folks. Adam is sandwiched between two relentless competitors, Ryan 0.2 seconds behind and Simon 0.1 seconds ahead. They're fighting tooth and nail for every position. It's a thrilling pursuit as Brent Owen is right behind Ryan Wilson, keeping the pressure on for 6th place. Hold that thought. A great moment for Brent Owen, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Yes, Brent Owen is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
It's a game of inches now as Stefano Amodei tails Brent Owen closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake. Hold that thought. Superb driving from Stefano Amodei, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
We got a close battle as Adam closes in on Skeddy.
This is what separates the good from the great, the ability to stay focused and perform under pressure.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. Simon of the Desert is breathing down the neck of Adam, not giving him any room to relax. Simon of the Desert needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. Ada. He's just put in a slower lap than Adam. Braking alert. That won't be ideal for Ryan Wilson.
It will be interesting to see if Adam can keep outpacing Simon.
These drivers are in a fierce battle, with Skeddy trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Jake Feimster. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. Braking alert. Fantastic move from Skeddy, who has just gained a position.
Impressive. Skeddy is really showing his skill and determination out there. It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Skeddy in second determined to catch up. But we know Feimster isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Skeddy is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as Skeddy can close that gap.
These drivers are battling hard for this position, each one trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other.
That's right, Hal. The pressure can easily get the best of even seasoned drivers. The fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see who will come out on top in this epic showdown.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Stefano Amodei is right on the heels of Brent Owen, and we're in for a wild ride.
They say rubbing is racing, but if Stefano gets too close, they might end up trading carbon fiber souvenirs instead of positions.
Jake Feimster wants to get into Skeddy's slipstream.
If Feimster get too close, he might end up taking the paint off.
Hold that thought. Heartbreak for Stefano Amodei as they slip down the field. Things are getting spicy now, as Stefano Amodei and Brent Owen look to battle it out for 6th place. Tactics are clearly going to play an important part in this race.
Drivers are going to need to look after their tires and will want to keep something in them for the crucial latter stages, as their tires wear and fuel levels deplete in the handling changes.
And don't forget the track grip increases as more rubber gets laid down.
Indeed, the conditions are constantly changing and the drivers need to adapt, otherwise it can cost crucial time. and jeopardize their position.
Simon of the Desert is running fourth and trying to catch Kevin Lekmansky. Things are heating up as Kevin Lekmansky closes in on Jake Feimster. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. The gap between Kevin Lekmansky and Jake Feimster is growing. It's now up to 0.4 seconds. This is where the race gets really interesting. Simon of the Desert is closing in on Kevin Lekmansky. Simon of the Desert is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Kevin Lekmansky at the moment. As we enjoy seeing these titans of the track battle it out, let's not forget about the pit crews. Those guys and girls are like a well-oiled machine themselves.
Absolutely. They're the unsung heroes of the racing world. But you know what they say, behind every great driver is an even greater pit crew.
The delta between Simon of the Desert in fourth and Kevin Lekmansky remains over a second, but Simon of the Desert is not letting up. He's pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 17 minutes left in this session to make that happen. Good news for Simon of the Desert, the gap to Kevin Lekmansky has decreased. It's now down to 0.7 seconds.
Exactly what Simon needed. He can't afford to lose any more ground to Lekmansky.
Kevin Lekmansky is on a mission, chasing Jake Feimster, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. It looks like Simon of the Desert is pushing hard to catch up to Kevin Lekmansky. That's not a small gap, but Simon of the Desert has what it takes to challenge for the position. Things are heating up as Kevin Lekmansky tries to close the gap to Jake Feimster. It looks like Kevin Lekmansky is making a move. The gap to Jake Feimster is now down to 0.3 seconds.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
In your experience, Ada, what was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, Hal, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Mellero, who is currently in P8. But Stefano Amodei is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Mellero. Hold on a second. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line.
Did the wind contribute to that? It's blowing at 5 kph out there right now. Indeed, the anticipation is high as Mellero tries to reel in Stefano. But Stefano is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Mellero needs to find a little extra speed to bring the fight to Stefano and move up the field.
Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement Adam's legendary status. Breaking update. Big gains for Mellero as they move up the field, leaving Stefano Amodei behind. Mellero wants to close that gap with Stefano Amodei.
I might have said this before, but dog, bone, you know the rest.
Stefano Amodei is giving it his all, chasing down Mellero in P6.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them valuable time, and the position.
The pursuit is on. Stefano Amodei is closing the gap on Mellero, determined to claim P6. It looks like we might get a battle between Stefano Amodei and Mellero.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
No room for error here. Adam is breathing down the neck of Kevin Lekmansky, waiting for the perfect chance to make his move.
It's going to be a close one. Adam will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Stefano Amodei will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
This is where experience comes into play. Mellero has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Stefano is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
Kevin Lekmansky could be looking for a way up the inside of Adam.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble at the boundary of disaster.
Breaking alert. Oh, the pressure is on for Jake Feimster. Trapped between Wilson 0.1 seconds away and Zahn just ahead with a gap of 0.1 seconds, he must defend his position while seeking an opportunity to advance.
No doubt about it, Hal. The gaps to the cars ahead and behind are like a constant reminder for Feimster. He'll need to maintain pace to defend the position and potentially make a move.
It's a close race between Jake Feimster and David Zahnd in 8th. Hold on a moment. Talk about being caught in the middle. Jake Feimster is sandwiched between some fierce competitors, Wilson 0.1 seconds behind and Zahnd 0.1 seconds ahead. The battle for position is on.
It's a thrilling battle for position as these two drivers give it their all. This is racing at its finest.
The race is heating up as Stefano Amodei in 8th closes in on Jake Feimster. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure Stefano Amodei is going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. He's not giving up without a fight. Hold on a second. Looks like that's a mistake from Kevin Lekmansky. This could be costly.
Willow Springs is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes. Absolutely. Stefano in 8th will need to be patient and work carefully to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as he can't afford to take unnecessary risks and that might lead to an off or damaging their car.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Simon of the Desert in 2nd chases after Sketty. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Simon of the Desert needs to find a way to close the gap.
That's right. Simon in 2nd knows to push it to the limit to catch up. But Sketty is no slouch, and he's going to be pushing just as hard.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Brent Owen as there is a big gap ahead.
Brent Owen certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Melero.
These drivers are in a fierce battle, with Simon of the Desert trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Sketty. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. It's not going to plan for Simon of the Desert, who is trailing behind Sketty and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now.
He needs to pick up the pace for sure, but that's not always a real possibility.
The tension is building as David Zahnd trails behind Stefano Amodei. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Stefano Amodei is pushing to maintain the lead, while David Zahnd is working to close in and challenge for the position. The gap between David Zahnd and Stefano Amodei is widening. It's now up to 20.4 seconds.
David needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way. If he can close the gap down, he may be able to bring the fight to Stefano.
This is where the true champions shine, and Sketty is certainly showing his class in the final sector.
He'll be the one celebrating at the finish line.
The leader has done it. What an incredible performance from Sketty, who was simply untouchable today. This is a race that will go down in the history books.
That was a true masterclass in driving from Sketty. You could see him making split-second decisions with total confidence, and it really paid off. What a performance.
Impressive second-place finish for Simon of the Desert. Well done to Adam for securing 3rd place on the podium.
Fantastic result.
In 4th, 5th, and 6th, it's Kevin Lekmansky, Melero, and Brent Owen. Followed by Jake Feimster and Stefano Amodei in 7th and 8th. Finishing 9th is David Zahnd.